All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to class, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. You know, if you've ever watched a movie or even just a really killer YouTube video and caught yourself wondering, how did they make it look that good? Or why am I suddenly feeling so emotional? Well, you are in the perfect place. Today, I'm throwing on my media arts teacher hat, and we are going to unlock the literal magic of scene creation, straight from the AI video making workbook. Here's what our syllabus looks like today. First up, crafting the scene. Then we'll cover lighting fundamentals, followed by camera angle magic. And finally, we've got a little pop quiz and practice.
Okay, part 1. Crafting the perfect scene. Building your foundation.
Look, before we even think about touching a light or grabbing a camera, we need a solid plan. Seriously, the golden rule right out of the gate, always plan before you film or generate it with AI. And the real secret here? Keep it simple. There's this unbreakable rule of production. One scene equals one action in one place. If you try to jam too much into a single shot, your audience is just going to get confused. So, start simple. So, how do we plan? It basically boils down to a totally foolproof formula. Step 1. Identify the who, what, and where. Who is in the scene? You got to specifically name your subject or your character. Then, what's happening? Like, what is the exact physical action taking place? And finally, where are we? Describe the location clearly. Trust me on this. If you can't answer those 3 questions right off the top of your head, you are not ready to shoot.
Okay, once you've nailed down the who, what, and where, we slide right into step 2. How, write it, and film it. Now, how means figuring out how the action is actually going to be captured, specifically picking your camera angle, which, by the way, we'll get into in just a minute. Then you write it. You combine all 4 of those pieces into one incredibly clear, concise scene prompt. And lastly, you film it. Just take it one short, clear scene at a time. It's basically a perfect blueprint for your student projects.
Moving right along to section 2, lighting fundamentals, painting with light.
So here's the thing. Light completely dictates the mood of your entire project. It's not just about making sure we can, actually see the person on screen. It's about making them look 3-dimensional and professional. And to pull that off, the pros use something called the 3-point lighting setup. It's exactly what it sounds like, placing your subject right in the middle of 3 distinct, strategically placed lights. Let's break down exactly what each of these 3 lights is actually doing. First up, your key light. This is your main workhorse. It sits to the front or side of your subject and does the heavy lifting of actually lighting them up. But, of course, a bright light naturally creates dark shadows on the other side of their face, and that is exactly where your fill light comes in. You just pop that on the opposite side to soften those shadows. Finally, the backlight. This one sits right behind your subject, and its whole job is to physically separate them from the background. It gives them that really crisp, cinematic edge.
But hey, what if you want to totally flip the mood? Let's contrast some different lighting styles. High-key lighting gives you this bright, super soft light with barely any shadows. Picture the bouncy, vibrant look of a comedy movie or a slick TV ad. Now contrast that with low-key lighting. This is intentionally dark with strong, heavy shadows. If you're shooting a horror scene or a gritty drama, this is exactly the dramatic mood you're looking for. And then there's natural light, which simply uses real sunlight to give you that authentic, documentary-style outdoor feel.
All right, section 3, camera angle magic, changing the perspective.
This is where it gets really fun, where you physically place the camera actually secretly tells your audience exactly how they should feel about a character. Seriously, imagine a kid standing in a room. If you shoot from above, physically pointing the camera down at them, that child instinctively looks small and kind of weak to the viewer. But if you simply move the camera and shoot from below, looking up at them, suddenly that exact same kid looks like an absolute superhero. You always have to ask yourself, what do I want my viewer to feel? Let's crack open our toolkit and run through a bunch of these angles. We've got the eye-level shot for a normal, realistic vibe, perfect for your daily vlogs. The high angle, like we just talked about, makes subjects look weak or small, great for children's stories or comedy. Then there's the low angle, making them look powerful and heroic for those big action scenes. Need to show a whole crowd? Go with a bird's eye view for that map-like, top-down look. Want the viewer to feel like they're literally inside a video game? The POV or point of view shot does exactly that. We also have the casual selfie shot for social media and of course the over-the-shoulder shot. That one is the absolute standard for capturing the feel of a back-and-forth conversation in an interview.
Which brings us to section 4, pop quiz and practice.
Okay, class, time to see who's actually been paying attention. Let's bring this into the real world with a little scenario.
You're directing a movie, and you want your main hero to look incredibly powerful and strong on screen. Which angle do you use? Go ahead, shout it out at the screen. Yep, if you said a low-angle shot, shooting from below, you hit the nail right on the head. You're making them look larger than life.
All right, next scenario to test your geographic memory. You need a map-like, top-down view of an entire city just to establish where your story is taking place. Which angle are you grabbing for this? You got it. It's the bird's eye view. Literally, the ultimate wide perspective shot. Okay, final question for the quiz. Two friends are having a really lively conversation at a local coffee shop. Which angle do you use to make the audience feel like they're sitting right there at the table, listening in? The ideal choice here is the over-the-shoulder shot. It gives you that perfect, completely natural conversational feel. Awesome work, everyone.
Now, you know a good teacher never lets you leave without a little bit of homework. But I promise, this is actually the fun kind. Here are your hands-on assignments. First, just grab your mobile phone and practice these camera angles in the real world. Point it high, drop it low, shoot over a friend's shoulder. Second, using that formula we talked about, write 3 different AI scene prompts. Third, record a short video using at least 3 different camera angles. And finally, create a complete scene card identifying the who, what, where, and how.
But listen, as you tackle this homework, I want you to remember the absolute most important note I can give you as your teacher. While we learn all these rules to build a strong foundation for video making, I really want to encourage your creativity. Seriously, there are no wrong answers in storytelling. Have fun with it, play around with the lighting, and once you fully understand the rules, figure out exactly how to break them so you can make your art totally unique.
So I am going to leave you with one final thought for today's explainer class. Now that you know exactly how to build a perfect scene, how to paint with light to set the perfect mood, and how to bend perspective with your camera angles, what incredible story are you going to tell first? Get out there, start creating. I literally cannot wait to see what you make. Class dismissed.